It's not what people say, it's how they say it. That's so critically important, because 90% of communication is nonverbal communication. It's not exactly what they say, but the way they say it. So for example, when I was a young attorney, my first trial was a birth injury case of a severely disabled little baby. And there was a obstetrical labor and delivery nurse who was testifying at the trial. And we had videotaped her deposition. And one of the questions of this labor and delivery nurse was, when you are confronted with a treating obstetrician who's acting in an obviously incompetent manner, what are the duties and obligations of the nurse? And the nurse at her deposition looked this way. She looked down at the ground. She looked away. She looked at the ceiling. She sat back. She grabbed her head like this. She started going like this. She paused. Pause is our key. And then eventually, she said, she kind of like made an expression on her face like this, like, I'm not so sure how to answer that. So here's the key. If all we had was her verbal answer, I'm not sure how to answer that, it's not particularly meaningful or compelling. But when she looked down at the ground, she looked at the ceiling, she put her hand on her face, or she folded her arms like this, all of a sudden we have nonverbal communication that speaks volumes. So capturing a videotape deposition is critically important to proving a plaintiff's case, because the nonverbal communication is everything. And without that, we would not have captured the key witness in the entire trial for nonverbal communication. At the end of the case, it's settled. After a week and a half of trial, the jurors came up to me afterward and said the key thing was not what that nurse said, but the way that she said it nonverbally. They picked up on all the nonverbal cues. And since 1998, when we started videotaping, every single deposition has been videotaped because we want to capture their nonverbal communication. Well, I think the biggest thing is that attorneys who represent plaintiffs don't do it. And that's a huge mistake, because your client is taking a huge risk by hiring you. You are the attorney. You will decide the outcome of their case. And if you don't videotape everything, that you're losing an enormous advantage for your case. It is so critically important to videotape every deposition that you do, other than your own client, because what you capture in the tone of the voice, the pauses that they use, the nonverbal communications that they use, it's critical. And for that reason, I believe attorneys should be videotaping every single deposition without excuse.